What's up, everybody? I am Lady Stars of Fire. My real name is Michelle Espinosa, and this is the Weekly Healing Messages, Part 1. This is the astrology for June 25th through July 1st. Now, before I go into this week's astrology, there's just so much going on in astrology in general. Everybody is talking about, the 6 planets that are going to be all in retrograde at the same time. Mainly, they're all talking about that taking place next month. Taking place this month and next month, or it will be in July, and it's starting now. If you've been following me for a while, I was warning you pretty much all last year and for quite a while that Uranus was moving into Taurus, and then it was going to go retrograde and turn around and come back a little bit. I also was warning you about Chiron moving out of Pisces and going into Aries, then going retrograde and coming back into Pisces again. Hello, this is those energies I've been talking about for months, and I've been saying over and over and over again, get your spiritual soulfulness together, work on that, make sure you're working on that, because when these planets all go retrograde, you will be in so much more of a home place if you're already there, and it starts next week. This is why I'm bringing this to you now. However, most of us are still kind of like, we're a little bit there and we're a little bit off. That's actually working on yourself, point blank. And that's the way it's going to be. But the more you're going in the right direction, the more you're ahead, the better off this is going to feel. The less hostile and aggressive all of these energies will feel as they start to take place. Like I said, you're going to have 7 planets. And I do count 7, not 6, because you're going to also count Chiron being in retrograde starting July 4th, in the middle of the night, kind of overnight between 4th and 5th. And you're also going to have Vesta, which even though it's an asteroid, you got an asteroid and a comet, technically they're all walking backwards. So it's still 7 that we're looking at walking backwards all at the same time. This is divine intervention coming in. For July and for August. You will get hit with it twice. I think the first time is for like 8 days, and the next one is for like 11 days. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they are coming in. You can go back and check my Facebook page because I am starting to speak about it now. With that being said, we're coming into this week in general in the astrology, and you have the full moon coming in Capricorn on the 28th. This is going to be a very powerful energy. Remember, this whole week I'm being told, look at Leo. Look at how Mercury is moving into Leo from Cancer and Leo. I'm really being pulled towards that energy coming from Cancer and from Leo this week, as well as from Capricorn. Everything is about that North Node dealing with redirecting our outer world. Our outer world, what is outside of us, not just from soulfulness, but how we can take that soulfulness and start to bring it into our careers, our goals, our dreams, our community, how we can move this forward in those ways. And like I said, I am being directed flat out. Look at Mercury, look at the North Node, and pay attention to that energy coming out of Leo, and pay attention to that energy coming out of Capricorn. That's where your full moon will be on the 28th. That is Thursday. So you're going to be taking that energy of looking into how can I build a new structure? How can I build a new foundation? And you're seeing where it's not been working so that you can start to redirect it. Remember, full moons are all about letting go so that you can start to move towards the next new moon. So it's those darker energies, those harsher things are coming up and showing you what isn't serving you so you can start to move forward. Plain and simple. That's what the full moon is all about. You also have Mars going retrograde in Aquarius, universally that 11th house this week on Tuesday. Then you have Mercury. Mercury itself is moving into Leo on Friday, the 29th. But like I said, I'm being told don't underestimate that energy coming from Mercury this week, even though you're waiting until the end of the week before it actually shifts from Cancer to Mercury, because I'm being given 2 T-squares and they're backing each other, but they're not making a diamond, and they're not making like a grand cross. Basically, they're not connecting properly for that. They're slightly off, but that energy is still there. And smack dab in the middle is that energy of Mercury coming out of Cancer and moving into Leo. Even though I'm being directed by Spirit, pay more attention to the Leo energy because I keep getting given the lion over and over and over again. Now, the T square is Jupiter in Scorpio, universal 8th house. This is mystery and magic of fertility energy, basically. It is the magic, of creating. And how is it going to deal with the death, the birth, or the birth, the death, and the rebirth of that, along with it's dealing with universally that 8th house, which is also dealing with what relationships are responsible for children, your self-worth, your self-value. But it also deals with, like I said, with what your relationships are responsible for. Your car breaking down, you have a relationship with your car. If you have no money, you know about your relationship with no money. If you have no job, you know about your relationship with that. Anything that you care about is a relationship, not just your friends, your family, your loved ones, your home. Anything you care about, you have a relationship with. It's that simple. Now, Jupiter in that 8th house of Scorpio is abundance. It is the magnet in general, but above all, it is higher knowledge. And it is speaking with Mars, which is going into retrograde. Your passion, your warrior, your aggression, your fire, all of that is starting inwardly and starting to reevaluate how is that warrior working for you or not, basically. How is your inner SWAT team working to protect you in those ways of what Aquarius can bring to you? That's going to be speaking to you about your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, and your freedom, and being able to create it and bring it into the outer world. And then it speaks to the North Node. The North Node is what you have to learn in order to move forward. This starts to get into the soulfulness. The soulfulness is bringing it to what you didn't learn in your past that you need to learn in order for what you're trying to make happen, or you ain't going to go anywhere, honey. This energy is a positive energy. Remember, smack dab in the side of one of these T-squares is Mercury, and then the other T-square is Lilith and Pluto. Lilith is, you ain't going to make me do any damn thing I don't want to do, point blank. Also in Capricorn. We're still in that Capricorn energy, which is about building the foundation and making it last. But Pluto is all about death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, and regeneration, which equals change. And Pluto is in retrograde. Pluto doesn't take no for an answer. Pluto kicks down the door and says, I said this shit has to happen now, basically. Pluto is speaking to Juno and to Uranus. Uranus is in Taurus, which is going to be speaking to our independence, our individuality, our uniqueness, our freedom, wanting the luxury of having everything that we truly want, along with being able to do it with self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem. But Juno is still in Aries, and it is speaking to us of creating the proper commitment to make it go, make it work, and to keep that fire burning as we start this new energy. And it too is speaking to the North Node. The North Node, the lion, is trying to teach us this week what it is we have not done right in the past so we can start moving forward. Like I said, this has to do with that divine intervention that's coming in with those 7 planets next week, as well as what will be happening in a month. The further you are ahead on getting this right, the easier this is going to start being for you. The more you're fighting and denying stuff within yourself, the harder this is going to be. You've got to see your truths. It's all about Mercury, again, like I said, sitting in that middle, which is your communication, period, with yourself and with others. Plain and simple, but this is still outward communication because we will not go retrograde until next month. Now, you have a power challenge this week on top of it, and I'm putting it that way because this is the way I see it when I read it. And it can go very positively if you can have self-discipline. Okay? Because the power challenge is Uranus and Juno. That is independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom with self-worth and self-esteem, and the sacrifice that it means to actually get what you're trying to get. It is trining Saturn. This is a positive energy. It's speaking to you about what rules, walls, and boundaries have not worked so that you can make it work. You can see from the past experience of what it is that didn't work for you. Start putting those new walls, boundaries, and rules in place to make it work. And that is coming out of, again, it's coming out of that first and second house, your self-worth, yourself, your core energies, speaking to the outer community, and it is still in RX. So it's still in retrograde Saturnus. So it is definitely communicating with you now and giving you maybe a little balls, maybe even a little too much to try new things, but that can be good. However, it is in opposition of the sun, which is in Cancer. I told you to pay attention to that Cancer energy. The sun is in Cancer, basically. And so those rules, those walls, and those boundaries are not wanting to listen and do what's right by your core energy, by that ego energy. It will fight it this week, and you have to take this from a seasoned approach, an intelligent approach, but still soulfully to be able to listen, because that sun is then trining Jupiter, the magnet, and bringing to you higher knowledge of what it is you're looking to. Neptune, which is in the 12th house. The 12th house is all about what it is you need to learn to heal, to start a new journey. Point blank. It is a challenging energy because the sun is going to challenge it. The sun is the one that's going to make it difficult. So you got to watch your core. You got to watch that ego energy this week. But if you can be honest with yourself and dig deeper, you'll be fine. I love you. Bye.